During the early years of the Galactic Empire, an Imperial Governor overseeing an attack was about to initiate an orbital bombardment on a rebel-controlled outpost, before stopping after he was informed that the enemy was right on top of a coaxium storage, the same resource the governor was tasked in obtaining. So he called his starfighters back from their attack. However, there was one starfighter that refused to turn back, the so-called Emperor's Fist, better known simply as Darth Vader. Despite being given direct orders from the governor to turn back, Vader refused and lit up the rebel base, causing a massive explosion and destroying everything, including both the rebels and the precious coaxium. Not knowing how to deal with someone like Vader on his own, the governor decided to turn to the Emperor and basically rat Vader out on his disobedience. When the governor contacted Palpatine, he explained what had happened, all the while Vader was standing right behind him. Vader tried to defend himself, stating that the rebels were planning an escape and that he had prevented them from doing so. However, Palpatine didn't want to hear it, then asking his apprentice if he had known the governor's primary objective of the mission, which was to obtain the coaxium. Vader quickly fell silent. Palpatine then continued to state how although Vader technically outranked everyone in the Empire aside from himself, he was not a bureaucrat, while the governor was. The governor knew his sector well, and due to this knowledge, he was the one best suited to subdue it for the Empire. And because of this, because Palpatine wished to rule a functional empire of law and order, he ordered Vader to obey the governor from then on, as to do so was in extension to serve his own will. But that wasn't the only reason Palpatine did this to Vader, as he additionally wanted his apprentice to feel anger in having to kneel before not only himself, but now to a low-level governor, as he fully understood his apprentice's past hatred of having to obey the command of others, especially those he deemed unfit to stand over him. Pleased with how things turned out, the governor began to stage his next mission. Now it was time to eliminate an entirely new threat, a whole planet that had been overtaken by deadly droids that had rebuilt themselves for decades and become terrifying mechanical monsters as a result. They were so dangerous that they completely wiped out all stormtrooper squads sent down to deal with them. But now the governor had his own mechanical monster at his disposal, so he withdrew all plans of sending any more troopers down and instead decided to just send Darth Vader alone to deal with the droids on the planet. And Vader did just that, obeying the governor's command as he alone went into battle against an entire planet of droid monsters. Hours, perhaps even days had passed before Vader returned back to the Star Destroyer following the completion of his mission. The governor was munching on some food, possibly having forgotten that he had sent Vader down, as it had been so long, before being startled to see him return alive. Vader returned back, battle damaged and with his red lightsaber ignited. This startled the governor for a quick moment, before his nerves calmed again, as he saw Vader kneel before him and await new orders. Next mission: subdue a rebellious planet for the Empire. This time the Imperial army was winning, and had victory right within their sights, but the governor wanted to further test out his hold over his new toy, so he called all of his troopers back to the Star Destroyer, all except Darth Vader, who was left to conquer an entire planet all on his own. And Vader did just that, returning back to the governor like before, and awaiting new orders like a loyal dog. Getting cocky, and a little drunk on power over his hold on Darth Vader, the governor decided to see just how strong the Dark Lord was. So he ordered his Star Destroyer to embark toward a restricted containment zone, one that was outlawed even for Imperial governors to enter and disturb whatever creatures lurked within. But this governor simply did not care, as the moment his Star Destroyer arrived, he ordered Vader alone to go out into the asteroid field and destroy the greatest threat he found. As Vader flew out of the hangar in his starfighter, he soon came into contact with a massive space monster, but right before he engaged it, he turned back and flew toward the hangar of the Star Destroyer. The governor was livid in being disobeyed again, but Vader countered and suggested that he was still carrying out his order, to kill the greatest threat he found. And in this case, it was an Imperial governor who knowingly went against Imperial law and was carelessly endangering the Empire's assets just for his own amusement. As Vader approached the governor, the man began to shout and ordered him to kneel again. Vader kneeled, not because he was told, but rather to protect himself, as through the Force, Vader had the space monster burst through the windows of the destroyer's bridge and snatch the governor up, taking him out into space. Feeling Vader's brutal execution of the governor across the galaxy through the Force, Palpatine was quite pleased in having his apprentice learn an important lesson, that those that place their own ambitions over their duty to the Emperor's will ought to meet a swift death. And with that, the lesson was learned, one Vader would apply into practice many times over his long career. Thanks for watching this video. Help support the channel by becoming a member on our Patreon page, and be sure to subscribe for more videos like this one. And as always, may the Force be with you.